Welcome everybody to this webinar where we are going to be talking about a project, WasteAid and Huhtamaki, and how we've been making the circular economy a reality in Guwahati. I'm just going to wait a little while for a few more attendees to come in, so if you just bear with us a second, that would be great. Okay, so maybe while we just wait for a few people to come in, I'll just give a few housekeeping notices. So my name is Michelle Wilson. I'm the Network Director for the Circular Economy, a network based here in London. And we expect the webinar to last probably just over an hour, and it will be recorded and there is translation available. One of our presenters will be presenting in Hindi. So if you go to the interpretation function, you should be able to then click on Hindi and hear his presentation in English. And it would be great to know where you are from. So if you are joining us today, if you want to just pop just something about yourself into the chat function, that would be great. And today, as we have on the title slide, today we're here to present what we've achieved so far through the Circular Economy Network project in India. And for those of you who are less familiar with the initiative, perhaps it's the first time that you've heard about it, the way that the day will go is I'll begin with an overview of the project and the partnership with a global packaging company, Huhtamaki. This will be followed by a spotlight session on some of the beneficiaries, the entrepreneurs, innovators who have been part of this project from the very beginning. I just want to do a few introductions. So today we have with us the project manager in India, Dinesh. And Dinesh, I'll allow you to just introduce perhaps the panelists as well. So over to you, Dinesh.
Thank you so much, Michelle. Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us today as we celebrate the Circular Economy Network in action. I would like to introduce the panel for today. These panelists are part of the Zero Waste Cities Challenge that we had in India. First of all, we will go to the two winners of the Zero Waste Cities Challenge, Dilip Das. Dilip Das is and Rupankar Bhattacharjee is from Inside Out. Rupankar, if you can say hi, you're on mute.
Hi.
Hi. And we have Purab Desai from Refillable. Refillable is a refillable model working in Mumbai.
Hi.
Hi, Purab. And we are still waiting for one more panelist, Tisha. And I'll go back to Michelle for a small introduction about the project and highlights of the Circular Economy Network and the Zero Waste Cities Challenge and our relation with Huhtamaki.
Thank you very much. Thanks, everybody. So just back to myself. So yeah, thank you very much for joining us today. So basically what I wanted to do now is talk a little bit about WasteAid, the project itself. I've got a brief presentation to show to you all. And I think just a bit of background before I go into it. So WasteAid is a UK-based international charity we focus on supporting middle income and developing countries to establish waste management systems. And currently we're operational in Africa and in Asia. I think we can all agree that waste is often a neglected issue in development terms, especially given the human and environmental cost that it brings, to often the most vulnerable communities. And I think the backdrop to this project was understanding that we really need to move to a much more sustainable model of production and consumption. And it's great to see in India the circular economy being used as a framework, as a way to drive, to drive this move towards a more sustainable way of living and producing. I think what we've seen, and the reason that the partnership came about in the first place with Huhtamaki, is that there are many, many entrepreneurs, some of them on our call today, who are already trying to make the circular economy a reality in Guwahati and across the world. We're currently working in 3 hubs in South Africa, India, and Vietnam, and we know that there's a really vibrant community of entrepreneurs and innovators out there driving the circular economy. So I just wanted now to start into the presentation. So bear with me while I share my screen, and hopefully you'll be able to also hear. There is some video content in here as well. So just to bear with me a second. Okay, so as I've mentioned, the Circular Economy Network came about through a partnership between WasteAid and Huhtamaki. Huhtamaki are a global packaging producer with a base in Finland, but over 30 hubs worldwide. And they are very committed to sustainability and the circular economy as an organisation. And they approached WasteAid in 2019 with a view to setting up projects in 3 hubs to really help fast track the circular economy and support grassroots organisations who are working in the waste space. So we worked with Huhtamaki to develop a project over an initial phase, over an initial 2 years, to bring together local and global experts who together can help close the loop on waste and in the areas in which we're working. So originally when we designed the project, there were a number of key elements. Obviously this was pre-pandemic, so we had to adjust things as we went along. But there are a number of key elements that we embarked on, having a contextual analysis, understanding who was doing what on the ground before we became operational in the area. We had trainings, we had webinars, we had at the core, and you'll hear a lot about this today, a competition that would allow entrepreneurs and innovators access to expert information and support, business incubation support to help them develop their business, as well as an opportunity to win investment into their business at a Shark Tank event. And also we've had some great sort of partner events on the ground. We have a website. So there's a number of elements that we set up from the very beginning with the key aim of bringing together global experts and local experts. So if we can break the silos down between everybody who's working on the circular economy, then the idea that we can make it work better, make it become more efficient. So the first things that we did was to organize partner events. We had 3 partner events through the project, and these were really successful way of bringing together Huhtamaki staff, but also enable them to meet and engage with the community. And we had a beach cleanup in Vietnam, we had a riverside cleanup in Guwahati, and then in South Africa, we had a food rescue event, which basically reclaimed food before it went to landfill. And these events were a great way to raise the profile of the circular economy at the community, but also at the national level, and through media. And I just wanted to show you now a brief clip.
My name is Suhas Mehta, Huhtamaki. Actually, This river cleaning activities is a part of our initiative, that is the circular system. We have a partnership with international charity WasteAid to drive community level circular economy, and Huhtamaki initiatives are to making packaging more sustainable.
So events like this allow us to connect with others who are doing similar work and are operating in different areas, and that way we can grow the businesses together and serve a greater need for society.
The whole team feel very, very excited and meaningful. Actually, when you pick up the trash, you feel you're responsible for the environment because it's there, no one touched on that. So that helps. So we also have the one sharing talk among the team, what they think and what the action plan, what they want to do in the daily work. And then the whole team sign on a team commitment. The plastic people also give us a lot of understanding on how we do with the plastic and what can be reused and what cannot be. So that's a good understanding for, especially for packaging people like us.
Today along with me is representatives from Huhtamaki, Nilyan. So Nilyan, how do you look at the problem of dump site in your city?
Hi Dinesh, as you can see there is a huge amount of waste piled up here. So the basic problem with the waste which is generated in the city and which is being piled up here is the segregation part, which has been not done in the ground level.
এটা আপনার কি করে কাজটা বলবে আমার?
এই ফেরি ভাঙ্গাসুরা করেগা अभी তো নিয়ে কুদমতে है।
Right, thank you. So, as I said, the events themselves were a great way to bring community, the whole network together, really. I think it was great in Vietnam in particular, where we were able to link the partner with companies like Plastic People that are actively making products out of low value plastic. And you'll hear today from an India-based company that is doing exactly that. So just raising the profile of these entrepreneurs and the way in which they're actually contributing to recovering materials. I think the events were a great way to show that these materials do have use, they do have value if we can recover them. So that was the first thing that we did, partner events. The final clip there that you saw at the Borogan dump site was again really a good way of just showing the wider community in Guwahati some of the issues around the lack of segregation and separation at waste at the household level. So we were trying to really just raise the profile of waste and of that as an issue. The next key part of the initiative last year, and we'll hear a lot more about this today, was the WasteAid Zero Waste Cities Challenge, which was a challenge to find companies globally who, with investment and with business support, could expand their idea. And we were looking for 2 companies in each of the hubs, 2 in India, 2 in South Africa, and 2 in Vietnam, to be awarded up to €10,000 each. The challenge was launched last year, and we had over 36 companies that came into the program that were given business support, specific business incubation and business support to help to hone their ideas. And I think one of the key learnings that we've got from this whole process is there's a real value in bringing entrepreneurs and innovators together, that they actually are, really encouraged by meeting other people working in the same sector and industry. There's collaborations, there's partnerships that can develop as a result of just networking and being in the same place. As well as this, a lot of the entrepreneurs and innovators that you'll hear from today, they have the drive, they have the idea, they have the vision, but they need more support to be able to develop their business ideas into a reality. That could be in terms of marketing, communications. It could be in terms of cash flow or financial sort of, advice. It could be just in terms of the whole business concept and how to sell themselves to investors. So we saw a whole range of areas where businesses, they wanted to grow, but they needed a bit of support and hand-holding through that process. So we worked with the Massive Earth Foundation in India, so WasteAid and Massive Earth Foundation, developed a 2-month program of activities, including one-on-one mentoring with industry experts, as well as classroom sessions together, virtually run obviously with the pandemic. And I've just got a clip now to show you from some of our innovators in India and the feedback that they had from this process.
Hi, I'm Itisha Sara.
Hi, my name is Rahul Batra.
Hi, I'm Nilakshi Moore.
Hi, I'm Sheshendu Shekhar Das.
Hi, my name is Dr. Sanjay K. Gupta.
So firstly, we would like to thank WasteAid for giving this opportunity and organizing this incubation program for the last 8 weeks. And also Massive Earth Foundation, which also did a tremendous job.
MEF, WasteAid, the entire team, they have given the whole project a beautiful structure. It almost feels like it's achievable now, it's doable.
The cross-learning part, I think, has been very important, and I think I've got to meet some fantastic people who would like to collaborate with them.
It has helped us to think critically about our own idea, and I think from where I had started, my idea is much more refined now.
We have gotten an amazing network of different people throughout the country working on waste management. That has helped us a lot to, increase our knowledge base based on experience, real experience on waste management.
We've learned how to model our business much better, how to create a pitch deck properly and make it more concise.
I'm taking a lot of learnings with me, so it has been absolutely great.
But I think the most important part has been bringing together selected successful organizations, learning about their work, looking how one can collaborate with them and what cross-learning could happen.
Great. And so you've heard from some of our members that are here today on their experience of the business incubator sort of process. And I think what WasteAid wanted to do is make sure that anybody coming into the competition and challenge, whether they won or did not win, that they all went away with a value add. And today in our spotlight session, we're going to hear a little bit more from some of our competition winners to hear, the impact that not just the funding, but the overall business incubation has had on their businesses and how they think about their businesses moving forward. I think the other thing that we were keen to do through the whole challenge event was to try to link our entrepreneurs and innovators to industry experts that could also perhaps over time be sources of mentorship and support for these companies. And we've already seen that. I think in India, one of our judges on the panel was ITC, who came down and visited actually one of our entrepreneurs post the visit to give some expert advice on the machinery and how they might want to invest moving forward. So I think it's been great to see how just by bringing people together, relationships have developed, partnerships have developed, and information exchange is happening. And without WasteAid really getting involved, it's just happening because we've facilitated this whole process, which is wonderful. So I just wanted to touch a little bit on some of the panelists that we had globally, just to give you the spectrum of people that we've been able to draw in. So we've had feedback, we had involvement from the British Embassy, we've had involvement from Dow Chemicals in South Africa, we've got producer responsibility organisations who really represent the whole informal waste sector in many ways, and we've had people from Plastics SA on board, as well as the National Recycling Forum. So, and in India we had ITC, and we had a range of experts that were able to support us from GIZ and also Tetra Pak. So we've been really pleased with the links that we've been able to make throughout this competition. And just some feedback now from some of the panelists on their experience of the competition, just to emphasize, this is probably more of a global response to what we've been doing in all of the hubs, rather than something that is specific to India, but we'll hear more from the India candidates in a little while.
The judges from many different organizations, some people from the British consulate, some people from the Commonwealth Office, some people from like Dow Chemical. Actually, Miss Mai, the lady is my supplier. I haven't met her before, but I think she's very surprised to see Huhtamaki is there. So I think that with that, I think the judges, the stakeholder understand better about Huhtamaki.
A real thanks to WasteAid, but also to Huhtamaki for funding such an important initiative. And I think it does come at a really critical time for Vietnam. We're all really excited here in the consulate and the embassy.
I have been participating in many regional events like this as a judge and also as a mentor. My impression has been previously is always that we need to do more. We need to put more efforts to improve the quality level of this kind of competition in Vietnam. When I joined this event from WasteAid, my actually impression was very much different. I think you have organized very professional events.
I'm happy and proud to be part of the team, but as a local citizen, I'm happy to see the project help my community.
To me, this is this could be considered as the best one of the same kind.
It was a genuine challenge to distinguish between them, and it was a great problem for us to have as judges.
If you can do more events like this, I think it would help a lot to the Vietnam innovators as well as to the community in Vietnam.
Stakeholder with their resources, with their connection, they can help to call for more support. The judges.
Sorry. Okay. Thank you. So yeah, that gives you some of the voices from some of our stakeholders, and I think overall, you know, we were really pleased by just the impact of the competition, and we hope that, you know, the ripple effect of the challenge will continue on. And we know there are many other similar initiatives going on in India at the moment, business incubator type support services and challenges, and we do think that they are a very valuable way of shining a light on some of the very important work that entrepreneurs and innovators, particularly in the waste space, are involved with. So I just wanted to talk a little bit now about the winners of the challenge. As I say, we'll talk a bit more to Inside Out and Sri Guru, who are with us today, but just in South Africa, to give you a flavour, Boomback.mobi, so they are they're a small startup trying to tackle the problem of illegal dump sites in Johannesburg. And they've effectively set up a material recovery facility in a township area, giving access to free waste collection to the township, people that normally would not be able to afford a regular collection. And they've also set up a home composting service. And they do this by funding it through the collection of waste from the more affluent areas. So it's a real sort of social impact type organization looking to create a hub and really clean up the area in Deep Sloop in Johannesburg. Bakashi Brand, also working in South Africa, they've been leading the way in treating organic waste with the Bakashi method of composting, which speeds up the whole process of composting, which is really critical because we see in a lot of countries similar like India, Vietnam, organic waste is a major component of waste at landfill, and there are huge issues with methane emissions that come from that food at landfill, which have to be tackled if we're able to meet our climate targets. So Bakashi are working to set up a whole network of entrepreneurs that will drive the take up and drive households and hopefully businesses also to take on composting, and they've set up a whole network of entrepreneurs that are out there now pushing the Bakashi method, who are trained up, and over time we hope that will then have an impact on the Johannesburg area. We'll see higher quantities of organic material being diverted from landfill. Inside Out, they will talk more today, but just to give you a brief overview, they have been pioneering a method of removing water hyacinth and making paper out of it from the wetland area in Guwahati. Sri Guru are one of the few companies taking low value waste and actually making another product from it, diverting that from landfill, which we know there's a big issue around this low value plastic. High value plastic, or like PET, is often prioritized because the market, is very, very clear for that material. But for low value plastics, it's very difficult to find those end markets. So we're really pleased to have Sri Guru on board. In Vietnam, we have a company called Veka. They have developed an app. So again, one of the interesting things we've seen this year is the emergence of technology and the use of technology to try to drive better collection and segregation of waste at household level. So Veka have an app which links the household to the waste collector, and it's effectively Uber for waste, that if you want your waste to be collected, segregated waste, you can use the app and a waste collector will effectively come to your household and collect it and will receive a payment for that. So we are looking to expand the reach of Veka's services in Ho Chi Minh City. I think also with the network, there's ideas that also can be from Vietnam that can come into India and vice versa, and also in South Africa. So we're really keen that, this network is meant to link entrepreneurs across the globe, not just locally. So that's why I think it's important that we shed a light on all of them today. And then finally, the University of Economics in Ho Chi Minh, they are aiming to be the first zero waste campus in Vietnam. And we are working with them to set up a material recovery facility, kitchen gardens, and then also a whole behaviour change campaign to try to drive behaviour change around the segregation of waste at source. So this is just a flavour of some of the winners. But as I say, there were 36 companies in total that came through this process that at the end of it have gone away with what we hope is a value add. In terms of, I want to touch a bit on the publicity. So we were very successful in actually gaining a lot of publicity from the event. So over 40 pieces of media, it was gained through the coverage of all the different activities. So again, a great way to shed a light on the entrepreneurs and innovators, as well as circular economy. We had webinars as well, a great way again to tackle some difficult topics, which bringing together experts. So in India, we looked at the role of data in waste management and some of the issues around the fact that data is quite poor and how we measure the impact of interventions. So we had 7 webinars across the year with over 1,000 people joining from across the globe. We also have a website where we curated local content. You'll see Dinesh's face on there, in terms of webinars and also writing blogs, trying to bring to life a little bit about what's going on the grassroots level. So that's on our Circular Economy Network site. I'll put that in the chat function later. What next for the project? We're currently in this current phase. Obviously, we've got this learning events where we're trying to talk a bit more about what's been achieved, and then following our winners through, and really just trying to continue to support these entrepreneurs and innovators on the ground. So what impact? I think when we step back from the actual project itself and think, okay, what impact have we actually created? We're very keen to be able to, to quantify the impact. And I think certainly just through the actual challenge, we can see that the people that have come into our challenge event, because they're operational, there's going to be over 300 tons of plastic per year diverted from landfill and potentially brought back into production. Potentially over 87 tons of food waste per year diverted from landfill. 25 new jobs just created over the last few months, and more will follow, with 75 workers connected to the formal market and 36 companies business ready. So we think there are ways in which we can quantify impact. I think for corporate partners also who are looking to perhaps reach a new market, we've seen with Huhtamaki, we've enabled them to reach a new global audience. We joined with them as in COP26 in Glasgow, had a panel event which were able to talk about the issue of open burning of waste and the impact that has on climate emissions. We've managed to link Huhtamaki back to their communities and allowed them to give back. And I think really, this type of partnership just shows that companies like Huhtamaki are serious about making the circular economy a reality in the countries in which we work, in the countries in which they work. So I think, if you're a corporate partner today, or if you're linked with business, I think there are perhaps ideas in here in terms of how companies like WasteAid can help you, really reach this grassroots market and to really show your commitment to the circular economy. So that is it from my side. I'm now going to hand over to Dinesh, who is going to take us through a kind of spotlight session. We're going to hear a little bit more from the innovators that have joined us today. And we just want to, hopefully, by the end of the session, give you a flavour of how active the space is in India. So Dinesh, over to you.
Thank you so much, Michelle, and thank you all for joining. You heard from Michelle, who's the Network Director of Circular Economy Network, how Circular Economy Network is created, and you heard about the Zero Waste Cities Challenge. And we are very much happy that Circular Economy Network is actually organically talking between each nodes. That is our idea when we started and we created the Circular Economy Network. Michelle mentioned about one of the speakers, one of the judges of Zero Waste Cities Challenge actually visiting a small recycler, one of the winners of Zero Waste Cities Challenge in Guwahati. So today we want to present those companies who are part of the Zero Waste Cities Challenge, and each one of them have actually benefited from the Circular Economy Network and the Zero Waste Cities Challenge. It might either be through a tailored 8-week incubation support that is provided, or through a seed fund of 10,000 euros each. So the challenge has helped them view their business from a new perspective and to better tailor their approach. You heard from most of the Zero Waste Cities Challenge participants, and you heard their testimonies directly. And for today, for the audience, we would get to know directly from the beneficiaries of Zero Waste Cities Challenge. We'll try to understand a few of their challenges and the learnings which they have put back into the business operations. I'm going to invite them to present their initiative for 3 minutes, and we will talk with them more. And please feel free to introduce yourself in the chat function. And I'd like to remind you about the simultaneous interpretation that is available from Hindi to English. First of all, I'd like to go to Shri Guru Plastic Dilip Das ji. Dilip Das ji, I'd like to ask you to present your initiative for 3 minutes. I'll just share my screen. श्री गुरु दिलीप दास जी, आप प्रेजेंट कर सकते हो, आप म्यूट पे हो, अनम्यूट करके आप प्रेजेंट कर सकते हो।
थैंक यू। हेलो, मैं दिलीप दास गुवाहाटी असम इंडिया से हूँ। मैंने सिंगल यूज प्लास्टिक रिसाइकलिंग करता हूँ। मेरा रिसाइकलिंग सेंटर श्री गुरु प्लास्टिक। कंटामिनेटेड सिंगल यूज प्लास्टिक रिसाइकलिंग करके मैंने पॉलिथीन शीट बनाता हूं, जो शीट बिल्डिंग कंस्ट्रक्शन में लगते हैं। सिंगल यूज प्लास्टिक कंज्यूमर यूज होने के बाद उसका मेजर पार्ट चला जाता है म्यूनिसिपैलिटी का डस्टबिन होके लैंडफिल में, जो आज का दिन में सिटी के लिए सबसे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम। मैंने 10-12 साल से सिंगल यूज प्लास्टिक रिसाइकलिंग का काम करता हूं। असम में ज्यादातर रिसाइकलिंग इंडस्ट्री फैक्ट्री वेस्ट लेके रिसाइकलिंग करते हैं। मैंने शुरू से ही कंटामिनेटेड सिंगल यूज प्लास्टिक को रॉ मटेरियल हिसाब से चुना है। अभी मेरा प्रोडक्शन महीना में 11 टन, बहुत जल्दी हम उसका प्रोडक्शन डबल कर पाएंगे। उसी के साथ साथ में मेरा फैक्ट्री में एम्प्लॉयमेंट बढ़ जाएंगे, और इनफॉर्मल सेक्टर में कुछ रैकपिकर को हम इन्वॉल्व किया है। जो लोग हमारा रॉ मटेरियल को कलेक्शन करते हैं, वो लोगों को, जैसे हम जो रॉ मटेरियल एलडी का यूज करता है उसका रेट ऐसे मार्केट में 20 रुपया में हमको मिलता है, लेकिन हम वो लोगों को और भी 2 रुपया बढ़ा के दिया है, जो वो कंटामिनेटेड वो प्लास्टिक को कलेक्शन करके मेरे यूनिट तक पहुंचा सके। तो ऐसा करके मैं मेरा काम चला रहा हूँ।
Thank you, Dilip Dashi. Thank you so much. India generates about 3.3 million tons of plastic waste every year. And one of the estimates says that around 47% of it is actually single-use plastic, which is intended to be used for once. And most of it reaches a dump site or a landfill and reaches the oceans. And Shri Guru Plastic, Dilip Dasji's initiative, we heard from him, is one of the initiatives he's working for almost 11 years now and has been recycling 11 tons every month, which is a great effort. And if you look at Guwahati, Guwahati generates about 35 tons, out of which is 15 tons is the single-use plastic every day, which ends up in landfill because Guwahati has no proper waste segregation and collection system. So it's a great effort, and one of the ground level initiatives that we are very much proud to say is one of the winner of Zero Waste Cities Challenge. And the scale up or the pace at which Dilip Dasji is working, we are happy that he has reached around this month his processing capacity is around 14 tons. Thank you so much, Dilip Dasji, for your initiative. We'll move to the next initiative, which is Inside Out, Rupankar Bhattacharjee. Assam has the only wetland site, Guwahati has the only wetland site of Assam. So there are a lot of issues related to a wetland, but the Inside Out is concentrating on one of the problem, water hyacinth. We'll hear from Rupankar. Rupankar, you can please present your initiative.
Hello, myself Rupankar Bhattacharjee. I am from Inside Out, and our main focus was conserving the wetlands by making paper, that is handmade paper, and that also from water hyacinth, which is a weed, and it's non-native weed, which is actually eating up the wetlands, especially the wetland at Assam, the only Ramsar site, Diporbil. So it is facing a lot of problem from water hyacinth, and that's how we thought that how we can conserve wetland by doing some sort of creative stuffs. And then we came up with this paper manufacturing idea, and we started manufacturing paper in a very small scale. After that, actually the main thing that we thought about is because of water hyacinth, the community that is residing nearby the wetlands, the fishermen community, they face a lot of problem in fishing. And not only that, they also face problem in collecting and then netting, and also in navigation. So these are the problems that they face, and the wetland itself, the flora and fauna gets affected. Many bird species are getting like their numbers are coming down. And then we thought about another most important part about whenever we talk about paper is that around for manufacturing 1 ton of paper, around 2.5 ton of wood is needed. So that's how we thought of coming up with this particular fiber, water hyacinth, where the same amount is being replaced with a weed, which is generally considered as an ecological waste. And we have also, we plan to work with the people of the wetlands nearby so that they can get an alternative source of livelihood. And circular economy network, while working with WasteAid, we got into this competition, which also helped us. This grant will now help us to scale up, because previously we were doing it in a very small scale. So we can now scale up, and planning to take out around 1 ton of water hyacinth per month from the wetland. So we are projecting around 6 to 7 tons at the end of 6 months. That is our projection. Thank you so much. That was all from my side.
Thank you so much, Rupankar. So the problem of water hyacinth is not very much native to India as well. So it's mostly with the whole of Southeast Asian countries. And it can be the same way with the waste. It can be looked at as a resource if at all it is collected properly. And Rupankar was also thinking about making. So the left side picture which you are seeing, this is the water hyacinth. And the flower of the water hyacinth is also used to make ink. So Rupanka somehow forgot to mention that, but I heard from him about making ink out of the water hyacinth flowers as well. So we'll move on to the next initiative, and Rupanka was one of the second winner of Zero Waste Cities Challenge. And we'll move to Itisha Sara, who's planning to collect printed circuit boards, which comes under e-waste in India. And we'll hear more about her initiative. Over to you, Itisha.
Hi, everyone. I am Itisha Sara, co-founder of Northeast Waste Collective. We are into solid waste management in remote mountain villages in the Northeast, and in Guwahati, we are into electronic waste management. So in Guwahati, what we have been doing is we collect electronic waste as donations from people, and then we channelize it for safe recycling to authorized e-waste recyclers. And in doing so, what we have realized is that the major problem when it comes to electronic waste lies in the printed circuit boards. Since printed circuit boards it's an integral component of all electrical and electronic equipment, and it's a serious matter of concern because the amount of, not only because of the amount of metals and precious metals that lie in printed circuit boards, but also the amount of hazardous substances that lie in it. So which calls for the need for safe recycling methods. And currently what is happening in this part of the country is that there is just one authorized e-waste recycler in Guwahati for the entire Northeast region, that is 8 states, and which does not do metal extraction, that is, which does not do printed circuit boards recycling. So all the printed circuit boards that are generated in the region are sent informally or rather illegally to informal metal extraction hotspots in and around Delhi, mainly Delhi and Muradabad. So what I intend to do is that I wish to aggregate the printed circuit boards from the informal sector in this part of the country and then channelize it to authorized e-waste recyclers who are equipped to extract metals from printed circuit boards in an environmentally sound manner. And in doing so, it will not only, if I'm able to do so, the initiative will not only help the environment and the people involved in this kind of work in terms of protecting their health and like protecting the environment, but it will also help the informal sector in realizing better incomes. And all of it will be possible because we know that a lot of money now is being pumped as part of extended producer responsibility. So there are more than 70 producer responsibility organizations in the country and more than 400 recyclers in the country. So using the EPR money, this model can be, this business model can be realized using the EPR money, and which will not just help the environment, but also help the integration of informal sector with the formal sector. Thank you. So I'm looking forward to raise funds for this.
Thank you so much, Itisha. So Itisha runs an initiative which is collecting e-waste and plastic waste in one of the northeastern states. And since she is into collecting e-waste for a few years now, she is going to concentrate more on PCBs, printed circuit boards. And India is known to be the third largest e-waste generator in the world after US and China. And the market is growing, and there is definitely a need for initiatives such as Itisha Sara's, who actually channelize it to a proper recycler of e-waste. Thank you so much, Itisha. And now we will move to Refillable, Purab Desai, who runs a refillable model, which is alternatives to all your packaging material of FMCG products. And over to you, Purab. I'll stop sharing my screen and I'll allow you to share the screen. Thank you. Pura, you can share your screen. Were you able to share your screen?
Yes, thank you, Dinesh. Give me a second. I'm just sharing my screen. There's some issue in sharing the screen. If you could share it on my behalf, Dinesh.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, Pura, here you go.
Yeah, thank you, Dinesh. Sorry for the delay. Hi, my name is Purav Desai. I'm the co-founder of Refillable. We are here to solve the single-use plastic problem in India. So just a few stats, 26,000 kg of plastic enter the landfill daily in India. 40% of it is via packaging. And all of this is single-use. So there's multiple reasons why there's been a led to rise of plastic. It is because of home delivery of packaging units, like whatever you order comes from Amazon or delivery platforms, as well as the number of packaged products in the segments have increased multifold. There's a stat that 67% of single-use plastics have increased after the COVID pandemic. So the reasons why plastic management is an issue is that there's no value of collection of sachets or pouches because these are complex polymers. Waste to energy is very expensive and it's pretty resource intensive. Reverse logistics at scale is not economically feasible, and there are not many sustainable material alternatives at scale. So countries, companies, and consumers are stepping up, taking up notice, but there are no solutions that can reduce and reuse at higher up in terms of waste management. So that's why we step in, because we focus on reuse and refill in terms of the RRR. So our model is very simple. We've created a smart mobile refill station that goes to consumers' doorsteps and refills in their existing packaging. This way, we've eliminated any kind of primary packaging as well as secondary packaging. How it works is simple, that we combine the environmental benefit of a refill station to the convenience of online delivery. And a consumer can log on to our website or order via WhatsApp, because WhatsApp is predominantly used in India, and they can request the products that they require from a refillable truck. So this way we are helping zero waste in terms of, because we are eliminating any kind of packaging. Our trucks are electrically charged, so there is zero emissions. Although currently we are still focusing on developing solar power plants also to charge our refill trucks. And apart from that, these deliveries are done at your doorstep, so it's very convenient. Currently, we've done more than 1,500 plus households in Mumbai. We have a retention rate of 72% consumers. We've got over 200 plus inquiries to expand to different parts of India. And we've got over 15 plus brand partners. And we've diverted over 500 kg of plastic. We're soon going to launch in different cities. Currently, we are in Mumbai. We are launching in Pune. We are launching in Bangalore. We are launching in Jodhpur as well. So these are a few cities that we'll be launching in India. This is the love that we've been receiving from all over the country from our consumers. So the type of refills that we have. So one is a refill truck model, which is basically a showstopper and completely automated model. We also have a refillable e-bike model, which basically does pinpoint delivery of the orders that have come onto our website and daily. Our truck is more of a store on wheels that goes to societies and shows what kind of products are available. And we also have a refill in-store model, where at high density store areas, we put our refill machines, and we've created very low cost refill machines that can go in dense areas. And apart from that, we're also developing reusable and refillable packaging. So our entire aim is to
make refills accessible to people wherever they are and wherever they are present. So it goes to the doorstep as well as the shopping experiences is not changed. So there is not a monumental consumer shift that is needed for our type of refills. As I mentioned earlier, in terms of we've eliminated over 95,000 plus single-use plastic bottles. And soon, via our 4 cities, we'll be shifting the consumption habit of about 20,000 individuals, diverting over 100,000 kgs of landfill within the next coming year. So our entire impact evaluation metrics are revolving around increasing the number of users. We are also eliminating number of single-use plastic bottles, substituting the chemical-based products to organic. So organic products. So we are not even just substituting plastic. We're also replacing the chemicals that are emitted into our waterways. And we are increasing livelihood for people who are here, because in terms of with our refillable model in Mumbai, we are currently hiring over 12 people from low-income households as well. So that is something that we are increasing a livelihood for people as well via our program. There are many global parallels of people who are already doing it, and we love to see the reuse and refill program grow globally as well. So it's not just in India that the movement is happening. The refill movement is soon going to take over globally. Yeah, so we are a team with a mix of youth and expertise, and we've been felicitated by multiple awards globally, and it was great to be a part of the circular economy network by WasteAid. It gave us a lot of experience, showed us problems on ground, and which we are tackling not just from a level at which we are sitting in our office and tackling these problems. We went on ground, saw the issue globally, and are solving it particularly suited to each city and each area in the country as well. We are not just fixing one problem and one solution. We are customizing our solutions and making them go on ground. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Purav. So if you look at the waste hierarchy, so if you look at the waste hierarchy, the first thing comes is reduce. I believe that that is what exactly Purav Desai is doing. And with the new EPR guidelines in place in India, Extended Producer Responsibility Guidelines, which earlier speak only till a point of recycle, now it speaks about reuse for FMCG products as well. So it's all about refilling. So I believe that these initiatives are very much important with the new EPR guidelines in place. So that's from the 4 of our Circular Economy Network participants, and 2 of them are winners. We heard from 4 of these companies, and we know their initiatives, but they are very diversified in operations and the kind of waste streams that they handle. Inside Out is handling water hyacinth, refillable, and Shri Guru Plastic are handling plastic waste, Etisha is handling e-waste. But what I find is that one thing that is common to all these organizations is that all of these companies are kind of small startups and new entrants into the business. And as a small scale social enterprise, all these businesses are sharing similar challenges and are trying to identify or explore new opportunities or more opportunities to overcome them. So what we'll try to now do is a small kind of a discussion. We'll try to understand more from them. So first of all, I'd like to go to Dilip Das. Dilip Das ji. So you have been working in this domain for a quite long time compared to the other 3 entrepreneurs. So according to you, what is the prime challenge that you faced as a small and the green, small scale or a medium scale green enterprise?
देखिए सर, पहले तो जो मेरा चैलेंज है, जो हम लो वैल्यू प्लास्टिक से जब माल बनाना शुरू किया है, पहले फर्स्ट तो मेरा जो मार्केट का जो प्रॉब्लम, एक तो बड़ा प्रॉब्लम ये था, जब मार्केट में जब कोई छोटा कंपनी जब उसका प्रोडक्ट लेके मार्केट में घुसता है तो उसका पहले जो लोग अपना प्रोडक्ट का एक तो मार्केट बना हुआ है, वहां पर एक छोटा फैक्ट्री घुसना बहुत ही प्रॉब्लम का बात है। तो वहां पर मेरे भी बहुत सारा प्रॉब्लम हुआ था। तो मेरे को बहुत धीरे धीरे तो वो लोगों को कन्विंस करना पड़ा जो वो लोगों को जो प्रोडक्ट है, मेरा प्रोडक्ट भी एक ही है, लेकिन वो लोग पहले मेरे बात पे विश्वास नहीं किया था क्योंकि हम कंटामिनेटेड प्लास्टिक से रॉ मटेरियल बनाता है, सामान एक ही जैसा है, लेकिन वो लोग विश्वास नहीं करता था। लेकिन धीरे धीरे हमको वो लोगों को कन्विंस करने में बहुत दिन लग गया था। तो और उसके बाद में वो लोग को अल्टीमेटली हम उसको विश्वास दिलाने सका जो लो वैल्यू प्लास्टिक, जो सिंगल यूज कंटामिनेटेड प्लास्टिक से भी जो माल बन रहा है, वो मेरा प्रोडक्ट का जो ये है क्वालिटी है, क्वालिटी हम उसको पास समझ में आया जे कोई ऐसे तैसे क्वालिटी है। पहले भी जो लोग एक शीट को बिक्री करते थे उसका साथ में मेरा कोई अंतर नहीं है। लेकिन छोटा बिजनेसमैन हिसाब से मेरा मार्केट में घुसने के लिए तो पहले बहुत सारा प्रॉब्लम हुआ था, लेकिन अभी धीरे धीरे तो हम उसको आगे बढ़ाने का कोशिश है। और अभी फिलहाल हम मार्केट में तो एक अच्छा पोजीशन बना लिया है। अब मेरा कमिंग मंथ में मेरा अच्छा ऑर्डर भी मिला है और हम कोशिश कर रहे हैं उसको पूरा करने के लिए।
Thank you, Dilip Dasji. So what I get to hear from Dilip Dasji is like the major challenge of a large, small, medium scale social enterprises. First one I can note is the lack of market, which he had to develop. And the second challenge is maybe availability of finance. He was talking about banks. So these are the two challenges. I'll go to Itisha. Itisha, do you think, based on your experience, do you think are there any challenges for an organization who's working in your domain?
Yeah, I agree to what Dilip Dasji is saying. Over and above that, I think if I look at the e-waste sector, what is also very important for small players like us to be motivated in what we are doing is, I think, transparency in the value chain, because we are aware that when it comes to waste, a lot of leakage happens from the informal to the from the formal to the informal sector, because formal sector makes more profits by sending the material out for recycling in the informal sector. So if we can have more transparency in the value chain, both for people who are giving their waste for safe recycling, and also for producers who are putting in money so that their waste is taken back from the market and sent for safe recycling.
Thank you, Tia. So that makes it 3 challenges, which is the first one is about the markets, and the second about finance, and the third one is about the transparency in the whole value chain that is required. Now I'd like to go to Pura. Pura, you have been working in this domain. You have been handling it in a metro-like city in Mumbai, and you're trying to expand it into the Tier 2 cities. So according to you, and based on your experience, what do you think, how can these challenges be overcome, and how did you overcome these challenges since you have been working in this domain for 2 years now? How is that you handled these challenges?
Sure. First of all, in terms of, we feel that we need a lot of hand-holding support as we go forward as well. So, and that is one of the major issues in creating a model that has not been introduced on ground. So that from hand-holding support, I mean partnerships with bigger FMCG partners, because ours is a very product which is brand-centric as well. Apart from that, hand-holding support in terms of knowledge that can come via software support or hardware support, because these are models that are there present in developed countries as well. We just need to present it in a different way, but their expertise and their insights help us a lot building it in our country as well. So that is something that what I mean by capacity building and handholding support. Apart from that, what was already mentioned was finance, and we have been lucky enough that there have been a few climate tech accelerators globally who have supported us with lower interest rates. But this was a complete hassle to get in terms of in a form of venture debt. Although there are so many programs present, but it is not very present for companies like us who are at a nascent stage and are at a smaller growing stage. So these programs and lower interest rates should be available to more and more people in this segment, particularly because that is where it is required, since patient capital and lower interest rates is something which is of paramount importance to us, which can give returns in the longer period. But as of now, that is a linkage that should be bridged with the help of networks as well as companies.
Thank you so much, Purav. So if I can say, it's all about the change of the domain which we are working. So Purav spoke about the challenges. So when I look at the challenges in this circular economy domain, in addition to our challenge, Zero Waste Cities challenge, I can talk about a lot of challenges which are presently active as well. So what I feel is like the funding system has moved from a grant kind of a system to a challenge which is actually based on impact on the ground. So it's all about how the city can be transformed, how the circular economy can be fast-tracked in the city through these challenges. And as you rightly said, capacity building and handholding support and finance are the challenges or the things which needs to be focused when we are talking about challenges. So coming back to our challenge, I'd like to go to Inside Out Rupankar. So Rupankar, you have been part of this incubation support. You received this handhold support for 8 weeks. So I'd like to ask you, what is your greatest learning that you put back into your business, which helped you a lot? So what is that one thing which you put back into, which you tried in your business in this operations for a few months now?
So this incubation support that I got from this particular support, today we have learned how to tell the story in a very interesting way for the like venture capitalists or the investors, because previously whenever we were like telling our story about our business, it was not that interesting. But today we have learned how to actually put up a story in front of an investor so that they get the interest. Along with that, the best part was that we have got a lot of confidence now to talk, like go for other like while pitching, we have that like a lot of confidence we have got. We can now pitch in a very proper manner. There was this Andy Raskin framework that we have learned from. And along with that, after winning this competition, we have learned a lot, definitely. And it is also helping us in collaboration, like collaborating with other governments. Like today we are now talking to the Karnataka government and Orissa government, where we are planning to go for a collaboration. So these are the learnings that I have learned, and also I could implement, and now this collaboration things are also coming up. So that was the...
Yeah, thank you, Rupankar. So after the Zero Waste Cities Challenge, what I see in Rupankar operations is like the way he perceived the business earlier and the way now his business is completely linked to an impact and the kind of collaborations that he's trying to make. A lot of state government departments and forest department in Guwahati. That is the kind of shift which we wanted to make through this challenges and the impact that we want to create. So I have a question from San, which is almost my next question, and I'd like to go to Purav. So Purav, he asks about what are the market shares of refill trucks and the refill light or refill stores in India. So he's asking about the market share. My question is also similar to that. What is the role of small scale business enterprises like yours, Refillable, in the whole FMCG market? What is the role? What is your role? Although the percentage is very much low, I know that. But what is the role of a small scale green enterprise in the whole of the bigger market?
So in terms of, first I'll address the market share question. Currently, reusable and refillable models have a very low market share in the packaging segment. they are about 1.5% in India as well. And this also includes a lot of packaging segments that are into concentrated refills and packaging that can be reused at home, etc. So currently the market share is pretty low. And that is where we're trying to step in and increase that market share as well going forward. And what is the role for startups like ours is helping and bridging, making companies realize that there's a lot of work that goes on the grassroots, but they do not have to reinvent and do everything from scratch and build it from scratch and make it big as well. They can take the assistance of startups like us who are already doing the work on ground, and we just need to scale from, say, a 0.1 to a 0.10 rather than 0.0 to 0.10. So rather than building and doing everything from scratch and learning things that we have already done over the last 3 to 4 years now, it would be better to partner with startups who are doing stuff on ground and help us scale along with them. So such collaborations with startups like ours who are doing work on ground, as well as startups who are doing wonderful work in fields that they are already inclined towards, will be a great step towards doing that. And to be honest, like a lot of companies have announced like reusable and refillable packaging announcements that we'll be making all our packaging reusable by 2024. It is something that is actually an issue on ground and not happening on ground. And that is where our role comes into the picture.
Yes, yes, Purav, I completely agree with you, because we see a lot of commitments from the corporates, but to actually see that commitments working on ground, all that we want is one who's already working on ground. And you're completely right that there's no need to reinvent the whole wheel, the complete wheel again. It's just investing in it. And I see the new EPR guidelines in complete sync with trying to get the fund into the place where that is missing, maybe the refill and the recycling part to it. And when you talked about percentages around 1.5% or 1.5, so what I see is a great opportunity there where the number is very less. It's such a great opportunity for the corporates as well. So, through this discussion, what I try to get or what I try to understand is like there are challenges which we are not denying. There are a lot of challenges on ground for a small entrepreneurs like Refillable or for a recycling company. But there are also a lot of opportunities which we are trying to put in through the competitions or through innovation impact based linked competitions. And what I see is like there's a lot of markets that are available, and a kind of favorable environment is slowly building up through the government organizations, through the EPR guidelines. So what I see is like there's a great opportunity that needs to be tapped through EPR as well for recycling, wherein the recyclers, small scale recyclers are actually put at a greater spotlight by the CPR guidelines and the reuse as well. So that is what I want to say, that there are challenges and there are opportunities as well. Okay, we have a kind of a question from Suan again to Purav. So he means the shares among your 3 models. Okay, he was asking about the share of truck, your refill model in the store, and the bike which you're using, the share between these 3. So he's asking about the share between these 3.
Oh, okay, sure. So in terms of, since we've launched with our refillable mobile truck first, so the market share as of now is 75% for the refillable truck, 20% for the refillable e-bike, and 5% for the refillable store model. But it will soon shift, since our priorities and funding will also go across these programs as well.
Yeah, Purav. And that is also based on the city which you are working. I remember for Guwahati, you are proposing not the refillable truck, but you are considering the thin lanes in the city, you are going for a bike. Yeah,
exactly.
So,
exactly.
Yeah. I hope that we could answer your question, Suan. And if you, I'll go to the participants. If you have any questions, we'd like to take now questions for the panelists. If any of that and these participants have some questions, you can drop in into the Q&A box or the chat function as well. Does any of the panelists have any cross question to the other panelists? We'll take some questions now. Okay, if there are no questions, I'd like to wrap it up by saying thanks to all the panelists. It was great knowing all your initiatives deeply, and I'm very much happy that the impact has already started. So thank you so much, panelists, and I'd like to hand it back to Michelle for a wrap up and concluding remarks. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you, Michelle ji.
Thank you very much, Dinesh. And I just wanted to say a big thank you to all the panelists who took their time today to share a bit about their own story. So massive thank you to all of you. And I hope that for the audience today that, we can see that, despite the fact, we know there is a big challenge in terms of waste and waste recovery, but there is, a vibrant sector of particularly young people I see really active in this space. I'm not so young myself, but I can really see a very vibrant sort of sector. And I think some of the issues that have been brought up today are really, for me, the main takeaways that, that to have this vibrant sector, it needs to be supported. It needs to be supported by better investment. It needs to be lower barriers to entry into some of these markets, more favorable loans and interest rates, and something that would de-risk the whole experience of these new entrants. We think that the EPR, the Extended Producer Responsibility Funds, are a great opportunity to look at ways of supporting incubation type approaches and ways to get seed capital to these companies. And I think, Purav, you made a really good point there around the fact that, many of these incubation companies or incubation challenges are set at such a high level that they're actually not really right for the very, very nascent small scale industries and entrepreneurs. And that's why with the WasteAid Cities Challenge, we tried to pitch it really at that first mile service. And that is what we will continue to do in order to help to really get people onto that first ladder into their business. And I think, that what we're trying to do also is just recognize that we need this ongoing hand-holding. It's not just enough for that project period. We need to really follow companies throughout that period. And, so I think we've done all of this through the partnership with Huhtamaki. And I think it just shows what can happen if corporates do partner with NGOs like WasteAid, who then can work and reach out to partners on the ground. And yeah, who knows, the ideas that we're seeing today, why would they not be the norm of tomorrow? And, as people have said, it's like there are innovations here that could grow to become business as usual. And we really, really hope to see that, through through hopefully more initiatives from WasteAid, but also other partners and companies coming in too. So if you do have any questions post this presentation or post the webinar, do reach out to us. I'll put my email and Dinesh will put his email into the chat function, and there'll be a recording of this webinar. So for those who were not able to make it, we will also send the link round. But a big thank you for everybody today. And yeah, I will end it there and say have a very good rest of the afternoon. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Michelle.
Bye-bye.